Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for coming to see Floyd Bennett Field, unlike our colleague from Rhode Island that wants to disparage our park in New York City, which is, as you said, Ms. Williams, very insulting that you would say it's okay to have a migrant encampment in the middle of Brooklyn because he feels the park is not as nice as some of the other national parks in the country. We invite him to come visit as well so he could learn something. I would like to first start by saying it's disappointing that the Department of Interior and the National Park Service refused to come here to answer questions. I wonder why they refused to come here. Maybe it's because they did something wrong, and I think we're going to get to the bottom of that. And I thank the chairman for doing this. I want to start by saying, in response to my colleague from New York, who said that everything is great in New York, there's no problems, and unlike the mayor is saying that it is destroying New York. And he said, well, has anyone gotten injured? Well, you know what? They were on a tour at Roosevelt Hotel, that shelter, right? Remember that? It got a lot of media coverage. Right after they left that tour, someone got stabbed in that hotel. It was migrant, stabbed another migrant, and there's dozens of arrests that have taken place at that hotel already for assault. In Staten Island, we saw unlicensed drivers without plates slamming into vehicles, totaling people's cars in the community. In Brooklyn, there was a DUI, a bust that led to, of a migrant that led to a sergeant, an NYPD sergeant's finger being bitten off. We've seen multiple crimes. One Venezuelan migrant, actually 14 crimes in 2 months. That's pretty much a record for New York. And in 2 upstate New York shelters, there were individuals arrested for rape, forcing that county, by the way, to say they're not going to accept any migrants, and forcing our governor to say that they should go somewhere else. So, Mr. Spencer, my question on public safety is to you first, being that you represent the U.S. Park Police. Is your agency concerned about public safety?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. Before I answer, thank you for your continued support with the U.S. Park Police, FOP. Is our agency concerned with the migrant situation that is proposed for Floyd Bennett Field? Yes, they are. And again, that's because of our staffing levels right now. That is in our resources. We don't have the staffing or the resources to handle 2,000 migrants put into a tent on our property right now.
You feel it's a bad idea for this encampment to be placed at Floyd Bennett?
It's certainly going to make our law enforcement duties much more difficult.
Okay, Councilwoman Areola, in your testimony, and also Assemblywoman Williams, which I'm happy you're both here because it's a bipartisan effort here that you want to stop this from happening in your community. So I applaud this. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It is 2 people coming together for the betterment of their community. And so what I want to say is SEQRA is a State Environmental Quality Review Act. We also have the NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act. Those were violated, right? They did not do anything to address any of environmental impact. It's so interesting because some of my colleagues from New York City want to shut everything down because we don't follow NEPA. Now all of a sudden want to see NEPA being completely bypassed. They have no regard for the environment all of a sudden. Can you comment on that?
I think it's very insulting to not follow NEPA regulations, to not even have a public hearing for community input. And this is why our citizens are forced to voice their concerns for their safety and our environment, and for everyone that utilized Floyd Bennett Field. I will remind you, it is a national park. Whether you want to compare it to Yellowstone or a plain old airport field, I ask you, come, I'll take you around, and you'll see the phenomenal things that happen at Floyd Bennett Field, our national park.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Areola, would you like to add to not following any of the laws?
Right. We recently asked for for MPS to extend a soccer field at Tilden, Fort Tilden, which is on my side of the Queens District. And we were flatly denied access, and I believe that you do have an email from the MPS stating why, because it would not conform with what is regularly at that location, and that it could impede other activities, it could impede protected property, protected species, and all of that. All of this has been negated at Floyd Bennett Field. no NEPA, no CEQA, no EIS, and an expedited EA without any community outreach.
Thank you, and because I run out of time, I just want to make a point to say, Chairman, I appreciate you looking into the fact that no environmental impact statement, no environmental assessment, they claim it's an emergency, but yet the President says nothing's going on at the border, there's no emergency to see here, so how do they get away with this? And that is what the committee has to be tasked to look into. Thank you. With that, I yield back.
Thank you.